Right, so I'm back with another episode of Top 5 Mods, the weekly series where I look at the mods and make about a top 7 of them. That isn't really in any particular order, so yeah, let's roll that intro. So last week some of you had some trouble acquiring that Assault Flamer, going so far as to claim that all the steps I told you to go through were a complete lie. Well, I'm here to tell you that if all of my elaborate steps, such as throwing about 10 cubic meters of gold into a pond, don't work, you're doing it wrong. I mean, I know following simple instructions is really difficult, just like proper punctuation, but it's alright. It's a whole brand spanking new week, and there's a new chance to get it right this time. So number 5 this week we've got the Commune. Last week I showed off the coastal cottage. Now smack dab north of that there is a monastery that I'm pretty sure was not there last week. Or maybe I need some glasses. So this is a settlement, you can pimp it out any way you want. So you go over there, you jump past the dead bears, and you'll notice that it's a very peaceful place with some lovely water. You really get the impression that the people that once called this place a home really lived in harmony. Oh wait, no, they performed human sacrifice. Ah well, it does make for some great cave decoration. But yeah, I wanted to investigate this cave further, but there were 2 deathclaws behind the gate, so I decided not to open it. Instead, I decided to antagonize them with my squirt gun. I mean, I have to assert my dominance. So yeah, we may never find out what the human sacrifice was all about, but I decided to move on. You then make your way over to the main area. Now this place has a small chapel, a tower, and a boring brick building off on the left. So the boring brick building contains a tractor as well as a floating oil canister. The chapel has some nice lion statues and is completely empty on the inside. There's also a sentry bot right next to it that is seemingly sleeping. So I pulled out my squirt gun and I tried short-circuiting that thing, but it did not seem to work. All I did was push it back a bit, which is what they call impulse. So I impulsively made my way to the very top of the tower, but there is absolutely nothing there except a nice 360-degree view of the area. The tower does allow you to perform some hardcore parkour and jump on top of the chapel. Now this does break your newly healed shins, so be warned. The final area has another small chapel as well as a greenhouse. The greenhouse does not really contain much of anything, except some dirt. But the chapel does have a beautiful pond right next to it. It's still empty on the inside, but the pond outside is really beautiful. So this entire place is pretty peaceful, except for the part about human sacrifice, but it can be turned around into a really beautiful settlement. I just kinda lack the funds right now to hire some professional workers to handle it for me, and I'm way too lazy to build anything myself. I mean, my hands are delicate, so I'll pass. But I figure one day, we'll find a perfect home for me. And then I'll probably get promptly evicted for some odd reason. Anyways, now that the housing portion of this week is done and over with, it's time to go shoot something. Now for that, we do need a gun, so what better than a beefy Scar H at number 4. To get your hands on this thing, you have to go to the Concord Museum. Now, I haven't been there since the first time I met Preston. Now, most of that is kind of a blur. I guess that's what they call repressed memories. So yeah, once you've come to your senses and taken out all the raiders out front, it's time to head in. Then make your way up to the first floor, make sure that the door drops you back down again, then make your way up to the first floor again, and then go up to the second floor, smacking any raider that gets in your way. Now, the Scar Age will be on a table off on your left. So pick it up and you've got the perfect tool to deal with the remaining raiders. So the first thing you'll notice is the amazing draw animation. The second thing you'll notice is the superb sound this thing makes. And the third thing is the even more amazing reload animation.
You gotta reload sometime, asshole!
With this gun, you'll definitely want to. So perform a drop shot on the last raider and you're ready to pimp this thing out a bit. Now these things are not extremely customizable, but out of the box it's already pretty much perfect, so that does not really matter all that much. So you can add some different receivers, a quick eject mag, add a tactical angled foregrip, some different red dots, a suppressor, and you can change the caliber from 308 to 5.56. And finally, you can add a nice and sexy tan finish. The gun itself looks pretty damn good, and another amazing thing I have to point out is that when you've got the quick eject mag on, the reloading animation actually changes. So a lot of love and care definitely went into this weapon, and overall it's definitely one of the better weapon mods I've showcased here. The only thing I can complain about is that the suppressed sound is a tiny bit too quiet. Well that, and when you're holding the gun in third person, you're kind of holding the pistol grip improperly, but nobody plays in third person anyway. So yeah, if you're looking around for a great new toy, this is definitely the mod for you. Well, we're armed with this beautiful scar, but we're gonna need some armor, some proper thick armor. Now when it comes to power armor, I'm always way too lazy to retrieve it. I'm pretty sure I've got about 6 power armor frames scattered around some places. You see, the problem is, you have to exit the suit to pee, otherwise it gets rather smelly. So why not take care of this issue and have your power armor fly towards you with Power Armor Airdrop. You simply point your power armor flare gun up in the sky and it'll drop down from orbit. So to get your hands on one of these flare guns, you have to pick up a medium-sized raider head, put it on top of this yellow crate right next to Vault 111. Now make sure it does not roll off, then take the nearest cone and merge it into the head. Then flip off the cone, throw a frag grenade into the cone. Now this will push the cone off, but it'll also make sure that the head flies away. Now then, and only then, will the gun magically be in your hands. So point it up, shoot, and wait for your special delivery. I can actually craft one of these at a chemistry station also, but I prefer my elaborate steps. Also, my Nuka-Cola power armor seems to lack butt protection, which seems like a pretty big oversight. Now once you've got the flare gun, you have to assign some power armor to it by using the holotape power armor holotape in your mist tab. There's also power armor grenades, but they didn't really seem to do too much for me besides expelling some gas. But yeah, this is a pretty damn cool mod. Now when you're in a real pickle, you just have to wait 30 seconds for your power armor to land right next to your dead body and you're all set. Life has been made more convenient for you. And speaking of convenience, at number 2 this week we've got Subwaynard. So this mod connects many of these subway stations around the map, so you can now move around underground like a little mole rat. So that's in connecting subway tunnels to the existing subway stations in the game. And these subway tunnels are filled with raiders, super mutants, synths, and ghouls. So before you can make proper use of them, you have to take those out first. For the Good Neighbor station, you'll first have to dig your way down there through the Big Dig questline. But this mod gives hardcore survival players an easier way to move around the map and save. Because there's also some beds down there. Not extremely clean beds, but they'll work. And this mod gives the filthy, casual, non-survival players also something to do. It definitely gave me some flashbacks to my time in the DC subway tunnels. But overall, a pretty damn cool mod that just neatly ties into the game. But speaking of things that are underground, at number 1 this week we've got Fusion City Rising - Quest Mod Plus. This mod will add the Remnants of Vault 59 quest to your to-do list, which has you talking to Peter at the real-world headquarters. Now, through the magic of alternate universes, my cat sanctuary does not exist anymore, unfortunately. The real-world headquarters is back to the way it used to be, with Tinker Tom and everything. So I went there and I was immediately asked to do some more bitch work.
Hey you, Randolph Safe House. Des wants you to check it out.
Checking out dead drops is your job.
Not when it could be a big old trap from the Institute.
Then I just reloaded the universe and talked to Peter. So apparently he's Deacon's son, and he tells you that a section of the children of Adam have become a bit pushy when it comes to their religion, calling themselves the Sword of Adam. They've broken into Vault 59 and are looking around for nukes to blow up the entire Commonwealth. Which definitely sounds like it should just be up a tad bit higher on the real world's priority list, but they're still too busy killing my cats. So Deacon's 8-year-old son and I decided to go out and save the world, while Deacon was too busy playing PC video games. What a great parent. We went over to the crater of Adam and ventured into Vault 59. As we took the elevator down, I realized I now had way more parental responsibilities than I bargained for. Now after going down, you'll find a desk with a terminal, a keycard, and some strange drugs. So inject yourself with these strange drugs, I mean they're free after all, and continue on. You'll then have your first encounter with the Sword of Adam, who just kind of looked like an odd group of raiders. So you can now make perfect use of your Scar H and shoot your way through them. This would have been the perfect opportunity to deploy my power armor, but unfortunately we're about 20 feet underground, so I couldn't call in my airdrop. Also, some of these Fate Militant members were rather scantily clad, including the men. They've also got some weird psychedelic artwork on their walls. I'm assuming they've probably been taking way too many of those free drugs. But continue fighting your way through the vault and you'll discover that they've been breeding miniature deathclaws, which is the most dangerous type of deathclaw. You also unravel from the terminals that they've discovered a drug that makes you almost immune to radiation. So continue fighting your way through the hordes of swords and decide to switch over to a fire-spewing minigun because you kinda ran out of ammo. But then you'll determine that that thing is literally a pea shooter. So extinguish the Fate Militant in front of you using your squirt gun and opt for the plasma grenade tactic instead. Then you'll discover that they've set up a militarized miniature deathclaw program by selectively breeding captured deathclaws, one of which is named Spike. So you make your way over to Spike and he wants to help you deal with the remaining Fate Militant members in the vault. So with your newly adopted son and strange color-changing disappearing deathclaw, you are ready to hunt down this nuclear stockpile. You'll discover that they failed at getting to the nuclear stockpile because of some measly ghouls, but apparently there is another nuclear stockpile just laying around inside a facility of this military contractor called Initech. And the entrance to that place is allegedly located within Club Fusion, inside Fusion City, which definitely sounds like a cool place to visit. So you make your way up to the surface with your kid and your pet deathclaw, and you make your way over to Fusion City. The only problem is that there's an active war going on outside, and you then realize it's going to take way too much ammo to deal with this situation. So instead you just run past everyone and go inside the vault. I mean, ammo is expensive. Anyways, Fusion City is a gigantic, colorful city inside another vault, with people that don't immediately try to shoot you. So just simply walk in with your full combat gear, kit that isn't really yours, and your pet deathclaw. No questions asked. Then just take the elevator down, and you're free to explore the city, which really looks neat. It's got escalators that don't work, indoor trees, nice and colorful lighting, shops everywhere, no shortage of scantily clad women, some with gigantic breasts, a police headquarters, a very nice bar with some Christmas tree, below which there's a fighting pit with a bunch of scantily clad women beating the ever-living shit out of each other. But right next to that fighting pit, you've got the entrance to the Fusion Club. So I went in and checked out the front section, which has some nice lighting, some funky music, and more scantily clad women. Also a bar, definitely the most important part. But since I'm such an important person, I was let into the VIP section. So this is the fancy part of the club. It's got some more funky music, an even bigger dance floor, a bunch of TVs, an institute elevator, and another bar. And after that, it's all pretty much a blur. I just remember smudges of that night. Tiny smudges. But I'm pretty sure my pet deathclaw, adopted son, and I had a really good time in the VIP section of the club. I'm definitely a very responsible father. But yeah, this mod is pretty cool. It's got a lot of areas with a lot of care put into it. A hefty amount of content to gobble up. The page says it's about 5 hours. The voice acting, from what I've heard so far, is good too.
Come on, Jax. It's your job to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen.
And I'll definitely play through this entire mod at some point in time. One day. Which you should definitely watch at that point in time. Anyways, the moral of the story is don't combine too many drugs at the same time. Definitely not when your adopted kid is with you. Well, that was it for the top 5, but as always, we've also got a bonus mod. So this week we've got Fallout 4 Shadowscale Armor Port by Sebastian Kwrrrttty Ver, and for porting to Fallout 4 myself. Which I don't think is his full name, but we may never know. So this is imported straight from that other universe again, and it looks pretty menacing. To get your hands on it, you'll have to go back to Club Fusion and just go to the toilet. The armor will be located inside the left stall. So it looks pretty good. It's some nice bone armor that's definitely going to protect you well against bullets, with a nice black hood. It does look a tiny bit too shiny, like somebody rubbed Vaseline all over it. But you do get excellent shin protection, which should really help you out with those high drops. So yeah, overall a pretty nice outfit for when you go clubbing. But that was it for this week's mods. Yet again, some very solid mods in there. Now, will I win the Father of the Year award? Will I ever find those nuclear warheads? And will my new armor prevent me from breaking my shins again? Find out potentially next week, unless the accumulative hangover from all those drugs kills me. So, until then. So, yeah, I guess I got some things to talk about here. Not really too many interesting things, but that 2K Mafia 3, you know, it's very hard for Dutch people to pronounce 3 correctly. I think I can sometimes do it, sometimes it just doesn't really work out, so I try and manage. But what I was trying to get at is that Mafia 3 thing is happening. It's gonna be in Amsterdam, which is rather convenient for me actually, because I can just take the train there and be home again to sleep in my own bed. So that's rather convenient. I mean, not as cool as a trip to California, but more convenient. So I'm gonna be recording that. I'm probably gonna be making 2 videos about that. One sort of like vloggy type storytelling video where you know, I talk about the trip itself, you know. Going to Amsterdam, I don't really go up there too much, so I'll go out for an adventure, I guess. And the second one is gonna be about the game itself. I'm gonna be recording the game for about 6 hours. Apparently there's gonna be a chunk up front, which I'm not allowed to record or something, but they're gonna give me a hard drive, so that's pretty cool, I guess. I can appreciate a free hard drive. And free lunch too, definitely. So you know, that should be interesting enough, and I guess that was it. Yeah, we'll cut the ramblings short this time around, I guess. So watch the video in the bottom left corner, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, leave a like, very important. and I will see you next week.